Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name's Claire and this is Yuli. I make videos all about houseplant care, sharing tips and tricks I've learned over the years to help keep your plants happy and healthy. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you how I make my propagation boxes and also give you a little tour of some of the plants I'm currently propagating in my propagation boxes. But yes, I really hope you enjoy it. Let's get into it. So I will start off by showing you some of the things that I'm currently propagating. Also, I was going to say, if it looks like loads of insects are flying towards the camera in this video, it's because I'm filming this video late at night and the windows in here have been open all day. Bugs have come in, my light box is on, and they're flocking to it, but it's right behind the camera, so I'm hoping it's not going to be very annoying for you. But yes, so this propagation box, so this is a box that I completely forgot about. I think I made this prop box maybe 3 months ago or something like that, and I stuck some things in it. I put it in amongst some of my plants over there, and I completely forgot about it. It hasn't been in the best conditions, it hasn't had great light or anything like that, but stuff is happening in here. So yeah, this one is a sphagnum moss prop box, and I used to only make sphagnum moss propagation boxes, and nowadays I'm leaning more towards perlites, just because if you keep it too moist in a sphagnum moss prop box, sometimes you can find that stuff starts to rot. Luckily nothing has in this one, ooh, which I'm quite surprised about because, as I say, I haven't done anything to it in ages, but there's only actually 2 active things in here. I did stick another wet stick in there the other day, but that is what it's looking like. And so this was a little Syngonium albo wet stick, which I will try and take out and show you. It's got a really, really decent root system on it. Oh my God, it goes all the way down there. That's how long it's been in here for. Go away, flies. But yeah, as you can see, it's producing some lovely little leaves. This one, I would say, is definitely ready to be potted up. I'm not going to be potting them up in this video just because I've got a list of things to do before I go on holiday, and I go in literally a day and a half, and I don't think I want to be potting up anything else just at the moment. So I think this is going to be on my list to do when I get back from my holiday. But then this one here, I think is a Philodendron brantianum. Again, I put this in here quite a while ago, and as you can see, it has started to sprout, and it's got a little root on it. It could be better, but it's doing stuff, so I'm happy. And then the one that I put in there literally the other day is just a little Syngonium albo wet stick. It's obviously not doing anything yet, but I'm just gonna leave it in there. So yeah, that's that propagation box. I know there's not a huge amount going on in there, but my bigger one here, so this one currently, just because of how warm the room is just kind of in here, usually on the table in here. My mum's always telling me to move it, but I just keep it in here with natural light, and the heat is fine for it. But usually over the winter months and stuff like that, if I'm propagating, I have got heat mats that I keep this on, and my heat mat's down there under grow lights, and this will just sit on that, and it will kind of help speed the propagation process up, because heat really helps when it comes to propagating. It just, as I say, helps to get things moving. So that is what I do normally. And this is a perlite propagation box, and it does have quite a lot of algae in it at the moment, so it doesn't look the prettiest. There you go. I might have to put some other clips in because I know that might not be particularly clear, but that is what it's looking like at the moment. And so I've got these, so I've got a couple of, I'll just take one out and show you, a couple of Peperomia sarcophylla cuttings which aren't doing anything yet. They've been in there for about 3 or 4 weeks now, and they haven't given me any roots yet, but I'm really hoping they will. That was a leaf that snapped off when I got my beautiful Peperomia sarcophylla from HOUSEPLANTS, and I stuck it in there, and I was like, please do something, because I would love another one of those plants. But yeah, we will keep our fingers crossed for that one. And then this is another Syngonium albo. Whoa, again, has got some really nice roots on it. I am literally propagating my Syngonium albo all the time. I've got a load of cuttings in water. I've got a load in propagation boxes. I've got some in my cabinet. They're just everywhere because they grow like weeds. But how beautiful is that? And I love that little leaf there. Look at the variegation on that. It's absolutely stunning. But yeah, as you can see, it's got a really nice root on it. And then I've got quite a few, I won't take them all out and show you, but I've got quite a few Melanochrysum cuttings. I think I did this over on Patreon, but if you're on my Patreon, you will have seen that I did decide to completely chop up my Philodendron Melanochrysum. I overwatered it accidentally before I went away last time and it completely rotted. So this is, oh my goodness, I have chopped that plant up so many times, but look how perfect that leaf is. It's propagated really, really well in Perlite. And so I'm just going to leave it in there for the time being. But yeah, as I say, I've got quite a few in Perlite at the moment. And one of the things I was going to say with wet sticks as well. So often when you put them in a propagation box, one of the really common things to happen is that growth is activated and it will start producing leaves and stuff like that. But sometimes the root system doesn't form, and that can be really, really frustrating because it can mean that your propagation will fail. But also, and I had this experience really recently with my Philodendron Silver Sword. I had it in the propagation box. It was giving me beautiful growth and there was no movement on the aerial roots. There was no movement from the node, nothing at all. And I was like, oh goodness, what do I do? Do I give up? Because I'm not going to be able to pot it up without any roots. And it must have been in there for about 5 months or something crazy like that, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere it just started giving me roots. So if you're in any doubt, I would say leave it in there longer and fingers crossed it will do something. It can just sometimes take a while to get going. But then I've got my Hoya Pubicalyx Hawaiian that I popped into the prop box. Oh, Perlite's going everywhere. And as you can see, it's also rooting. A lot of these, I mean, maybe not that just yet, but a lot of these are actually ready to be potted up, and I just haven't done anything about it. I always leave things in the prop box, probably way longer than I actually should, but it's all right. They seem pretty happy in there. So, and then I've got a Pothos Enjoy with a little root on it. Again, it's probably going to stay in there for a little while longer. This isn't doing anything at all. This was, what was this? Hoya Macrophylla Red, one of the ones that I imported from Arrowed Market, and I completely chopped up. I did propagate the leaf cuttings. They've done really, really well. And this was just a section of stem, and I thought I'll just stick it in there and I'll see if it does anything. And at the moment it's not. I might just actually break it. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it looks a bit dead. I was just looking to see if there was any life in the twig, and it looks a little bit dead. I'm going to leave it in there just for the time that I'm away, but I may have to give up on that one, sadly. And then I've got a Monstera dubia that I think has been in the prop box for, I want to say about 6 months. It's really bad. It was almost ready to be potted when I first got it. I mean, that's all root. And as you can see, it's just shingling like crazy because it's looking for something to grip onto and climb. And I've been really bad with that. And I think now, the stage that it's at, I'm probably going to have to chop it and do multiple ones in a pot when I do pot it up, but I'll get round to it at some point. I've been saying that for a really long time. I don't know, I think because now I've got my bigger dubia again that I got from Hutch, that one's bringing me so much joy that I kind of have forgotten about this one. But yes, I will do that. That will be on my to-do list when I get back from holiday, along with like a million other things that I keep saying. But yeah, cool. So those are the main ones I've got in boxes at the moment. I'm really hoping when I move house, I'll be able to get a whole section set up and have loads of propagation boxes, because that would just be amazing and I could be propagating all the time. I kind of treat my cabinet as a propagation box, to be honest. It's kind of the same principle because it's a contained space. It contains moisture really well, heat really well. It's perfect growing conditions. So a lot of my young plants, propagation seedlings, they do go in my cabinet nowadays as opposed to prop boxes, because I used to have so many propagation boxes and I would just constantly forget about them. But let's make some propagation boxes. So let me just pop that there and pop the camera down a little bit. So these are the things that I want to get into propagation boxes, and this is kind of all part of my holiday prep because I'm going away pretty much tomorrow, and my mum's going to be responsible for looking after literally everything, and I really don't want her to have to worry about things like moss drying out and stuff like that. So if I can get these things into a prop box, then it will be a weight off my mind and most definitely a weight off her mind as well. So I am going to make a perlite one and a sphagnum moss one, and I think a lot of these are going to be in sphagnum moss, so I'm going to do that first. So with a propagation box, you basically just want to find, it can be any container at all, but just make sure that the lid is clear so that light can pass through and your plants can be receiving light in order to grow. I usually just use Tupperware boxes. This was an old Sweetie tub, and the other one that I'm going to be using is just a little box that I got. I think I got a takeaway in a while ago, but my friend Emma as well, who is Good Growing on YouTube, she was also saying that she gets these yogurt containers, and in fact that is what this is. These are some of the things that she gave me, and I was like, that's such a cool idea. So yeah, I'm actually looking at the size of these plants here, and I think they might be too big for this, but I might just have to squish them in for now. So obviously make sure that your box is really, really clean, because you don't want germs or anything like that going in there. It's just also, I mean, as I say, cuttings can start to rot in propagation boxes sometimes if you're not careful. So you just need to make sure that it's really, really clean. And the sphagnum moss that I'm using, it's the stuff that I got from B&Q. This isn't my first choice sphagnum moss. Ideally, I'm in the UK and there's a great company called Soil Ninja. They do amazing live sphagnum moss, and that is the stuff that I would usually go for, but this was just easily accessible. So I'm going to use this, and I'm just going to put a thin layer at the bottom. And actually the ones that are already in moss here, I think I'll probably just reuse that same moss as well. So it just looks like that. And then let's have a look at these and see how they're getting on. So I've got in here, this is, again, these are the ones that Emma gave to me in our mystery plant swap that we did recently. These three here are Epipremnum Kujang, which I'd never heard of, but it's actually a really gorgeous plant. I'm very excited for this one. And I think they have got, wow, they've actually got a really good root system on them. So in fact, change of plan, I'm going to take a little bit of this moss out, and I'm going to literally just transfer them, if they will fit in this, straight this. They're going to be way too big. This was very overly ambitious. Okay, I mean, to be completely honest, I think these ones probably are ready to be potted up because their roots are pretty insane. So maybe I will leave them out of the equation for now. I know I said I didn't want to be potting up any more plants before I went on holiday, but I think that's probably going to be a safer bet. And also because they're an epipremnum, they do tend to kind of react quite well to going into soil. They're not like some others that will just go into shock and be a bit like, ah. So I'm gonna, yeah, change of plans. I'm gonna put them to one side. So this one I will put into the propagation box. This is a Paleonia pulchra, and again, it's another beautiful one that Emma gave me. I honestly had never seen anything like it. I think it's absolutely beautiful. So I'm gonna just take my moss back out of the bag, and I'm gonna pop that back into the prop box. And in fact, I was going to say I'll use that one to show you, but that one hasn't got as much of a pronounced node. So I will use the little Syngonium albo wet stick to show you. So if you look at the nodal point, which is obviously the bump in the middle, and this one's actually got a couple of aerial roots, the long little things coming out there. You just want to make sure that they are kind of not fully submerged, not the whole thing submerged in moss. I just kind of tuck them into the moss. And if it's got an auxiliary bud, which this one again does just there, that's where the new growth is going to come from. You kind of want to make sure that that is, I mean, it doesn't have to be facing right up, but that it's not facing down into the moss, so that its growth can kind of detect the light and grow upwards. So yeah, I'm just gonna pop that little one in there, and I'm gonna do the exact same with the little Paleonia pulchra. I love that name, it's such a great name. And then the last one that I really want to get into moss. So this is, oh my goodness, I'm doing literally all of the ones that Emma gave me. But this is a Monstera Esqueleto, I think. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. Esqueleto. But anyway, it was a wish list plant of mine for ages, and I've got it in a little goo pudding pot at the moment, and it's been in my cabinet. It's doing really well in there, and ow. Although I don't really want to disrupt it because it is still kind of forming roots and everything like that, I am so scared that my mum would forget to add water to this and it would dry out, because, as I say, it's a plant I wanted for ages. So it's only been in moss for just over a week. But as you can see, its little aerial root has started to produce some new rootage, which I'm so happy about. And that auxiliary bud there, literally, you probably won't be able to tell as well on camera, but it literally looks like it's about to pop. So I am really hoping when I get back from my time away, this might have some growth on it. I cannot even explain how excited I am about that. But yeah, I mean, I think I kind of started saying when I was talking about my cabinet, but creating a propagation box is it's just like ideal growing conditions for a lot of plants. It does make the process a lot quicker on the whole. In my experience, it does often mean that there's a much higher success rate. So I love making propagation boxes. As I say, I used to have absolutely loads of them, and it's just so fun. I think as well, because you don't have to kind of monitor them in the same way as you do your other propagations. You can kind of leave them for a month or so, then you can check back and you can be like, oh, what's going on, and see loads of lovely new growth. And I just find that really exciting. So yeah, so for now, I think I'm not going to take any new cuttings for this video because, again, I don't want to overwhelm my propagation boxes. I know I'm always accidentally knocking leaves off or breaking bits off and stuff like that, and I want to leave some room for if I need to add anything to that. But I'm just going to grab my spray bottle and I'm just going to give the moss a really good spray. You don't want it to be soaking wet because, again, as I say, that can cause rotting, but you just want to make sure that it's nicely hydrated because the moisture is going to help to keep it lovely and humid in there and keep your plant happy. Cool, so that's what it's looking like. I know it doesn't look that exciting at the moment, but I'm really hoping that in a few weeks' time when I come back to these, I'll open it up and I'll have some really beautiful rooted cuttings and lovely new growth. So I will do a little update video on these. I'm gonna, for now, just keep the lid on, make sure it's properly sealed. I was going to say, again, if you don't have like a clip-on lid like this one, you can use cling film. I do for some of my prop boxes. These are just seeds germinating in here and they haven't really done anything yet, so there's not much to see. But you can use cling film to just kind of help act as a lid and just retain the moisture in there and create a little microclimate. I like using a lid just because it's, I don't know, you feel like it's properly airtight. So that is what I am doing. But then, so the perlite boxes, I've got a of things that I think I'm going to put in my perlite box. I have already put the perlite in here just because perlite is so bad for you to breathe in, and whenever I use perlite in my videos I always like to hydrate it first just so that you don't get all the dust and horrible stuff like that. So this is literally just perlite and I've just hydrated it with water, but again, I'll just give it another little spray for the sake of it. I usually, what I'll do is I'll put like, so for the amount of perlite I've put in here, which is about that much, I'll put maybe like 1 centimetre of water at the bottom and then I'll just wait for it to hydrate because perlite retains moisture really well. It kind of absorbs it and releases it to your plant as and when they need it. And again, just helps to create a really lovely humid environment in there. So yeah, so the first one that I want to get into perlite is my Philodendron squamiferum that I randomly cut in my Green Spaces ID update video the other day. I feel like that one will do quite well in perlite. So again, exactly the same principle as the sphagnum moss. I'm just going to tuck the aerial roots just there on the nose, just into the perlite. I'm really underestimating how big these plants are. I've just put that in and I'm like, I need a bigger box. But that's what I'm gonna do, and that will be absolutely fine. I know once the lid's closed and it's still getting light, I don't think that's gonna affect it too badly, but ideally you would be using a slightly bigger box. And then I was gonna put the Scindapsus silver, well, I mean, this is kind of a mystery Scindapsus. It's either Silver Hero, Platinum or Tattoo. I've had lots of different theories from you guys and I think I need it to get a little bit bigger before I kind of fully decide on its ID if I can work it out. But thank you for your suggestions anyway. It has been very useful. I didn't actually know about Scindapsus Platinum, so that's very useful of you to tell me. Thank you. I was going to get these in perlite actually, but I think seeing as the box is pretty much full with that one cutting, I think I might get these into the one that I forgot about, this sphagnum moss box. And these ones, they are rooted already. I can't remember if I said it, but these are another one from Emma. And they've got a really lovely root system on them. And as I say, under normal circumstances, I wouldn't change their environment. I just leave them exactly as they are, but I don't want to risk my mum forgetting about them and forgetting to keep the moss hydrated while I'm away. So that is why I'm doing it. But wow, again, wow, these roots are really, really great. This is another one that I would say by the looks of it, once I'm home, will probably be ready to be potted up. And I know a lot of you have asked before about how you know when a propagation is ready to be potted. And I mean, it's really hard to explain exactly how. I mean, I don't know. You want to wait until the root system is established. So, I mean, like, obviously, looking at this one, you can see it's got roots coming from 2 points, and they're really big. There's a fly stuck inside my light box now. Oh, damn flies. I'm gonna have to get them out because that's gonna be very annoying for you. Right, we're back again. So yes, I can't remember exactly where I got to, but yeah, you wanna wait until the root system is pretty well established. Like, for example, I wouldn't consider potting this up if it was like that big, for example. I usually wait until, people have said before, the roots are growing roots, and that's quite a good way to think of it. I mean, usually when the roots are kind of producing other little kind of like offshoots of roots, then it is usually a pretty well established root system. But I would say with a plant this size, and obviously kind of like scale it to the size of the cutting you're talking about, but I would say for this one, probably 3-4 inches. I would wait until I potted this up. But as I say, this one would be fine if I was to pot it now. So this is just a temporary measure, but I'm just gonna kind of submerge the root system in moss and just lay it in there. And I'm just gonna pop a tiny bit of moss that it was in before just over the roots as well. So yeah, there we go. And this moss in here hasn't been hydrated for a while. So again, I'm just gonna give it a good spray. All done. And then I need to try and get the lid on this. Oh dearie me, this is the plant that I'm trying to make myself fall in love with, because I have just, if you watch my other video, if you watch my Green Spaces ID update, you'll know that I'm just not loving this plant at the moment. But I feel like if I propagate it and watch it grow from a baby, then maybe I'll be able to kind of fall in love with it. I don't know. That is everything that I wanted to get into the prop boxes, apart from the Epipremnum Kujangs, which I think, as I say, I will either have to leave in moss and hope for the best, or I'll have to pot up before I go, which isn't ideal, but it's just how it goes. It's just how it goes. If any of you have got any questions about propagation, I get quite a lot of questions about it, and I'm definitely not an expert, but I was thinking of maybe doing a little Q&A on it at some point with what I do know and what I have experienced with propagation. So by all means, drop any questions down below and I will try and include them in that video at some point. But yes, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it useful, enjoyable. Also, let me know what plants you're currently propagating, because I would be very interested to know. Drop me a comment down below. But yeah, if you did enjoy this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, have a lovely day, and I will see you in the next video.